Hello, Namaskar. This is Vinita Kumar, and you're watching me on India.com. In our special Women's Day edition today, I have someone who's been this ever so graceful symbol of being a woman in the industry. She radiates love and confidence, and for her, to being bold is being true to who you are. Is that right, Dia? In conversation, Dia Mirza. Is that right?
Thank you, Vinita. That's a very sweet introduction and very generous of you. Yeah, you are absolutely right. I don't know what it is to be bold. I only know what it is to be authentic and true to yourself. And I find that with time and experience, I've discovered that a lot of the conditioning, a lot of the social conditioning for women is driven by fear. And I think one of the best ways to uncondition yourself and to learn to be your most authentic self, you need to recognize those fears. And I think just recognizing fears helps them dissolve, most of them. And if you continue to feel a sense of fear about certain things, then you have to learn to do things anyway and discover most of your fears were unnecessary or misplaced.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this. How easy or difficult has it been for you being a woman in the industry?
I'd be extremely ungrateful if I said that it's been hard because I think so many opportunities opened up for me very early in life. I was 18, 19 when I joined the Hindi film industry. And that happened because, I was an attractive looking girl who had just won an international beauty pageant. So it really opened up opportunities for me. But I think when you're in the workspace, and especially when I joined film, it was a time when there was just such a small percentage of women were represented on a film set. There were very few women on any given film.
Yes.
And that itself created all kinds of inequalities, right? But thankfully, with time and better representation, things have improved and evolved.
Yeah.
And I mean, we still remain hugely underrepresented in the films across all mediums.
Yeah.
And a lot of work to be done to improve representation for women in film. But I feel that whether it is the subject matter, whether it is the way we write stories or the way we craft characters for women, all of that is improved significantly, and I have benefited from that. And I can look back to some of the recent parts I've played in the last decade or so.
Yes.
And I see a huge shift in the way we're writing parts and the way we're treating women on film and in stories. So while there is still a lot of progress to be made, there's definitely a shift and a change.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely there, Dia, as wonderfully put that out. Dia, as you said that you have seen this evolving over the time. Your place in the industry and your presence there. There is a lot that you have seen so far. I wanted to understand from you that you did this amazing movie, Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein, and it just like became a movie of a lifetime, not just for you, of course, and say for Madhavan and for other people associated with it, but for a whole generation, I would say. But do you believe that you specifically were typecast or stereotyped after this? Why I'm asking you this, because it leads me to this question that then do you also believe that women are more stereotyped in the industry than men?
No, I think all people are stereotyped because if you play certain parts, then you tend to get only those parts. So I was actually laughing about it. I was complaining to a friend of mine recently who's also an actor, saying, now every part that comes to me is a Muslim character. And I have no problem playing a Muslim, right?
Yeah.
It's I have no biases against such parts, but it's interesting. If you play a certain part and you play it effectively, then more and more people want to see you only in that kind of space, and keep
Yes.
casting you in that way. It's something that many actors are grappling with. It's a reality that we're all constantly striving to like shed,
Mhm.
and compel, casting directors or filmmakers to open up their perception a little bit and see that we can play many different things
Yeah.
if only we're given the opportunity.
Mhm.
I find that many times I have not been cast in films, or I haven't got, landed a part because of the way I look. And one would think that, oh my God, why would somebody beautiful complain about being beautiful? But it's a problem sometimes. So, it all depends really on um, just how open storytellers are to experimenting and really kind of exploring the full range that an artist can offer, and very few people are willing to do that with actors,
Yeah.
men and women. I
Yeah.
remember another male colleague of mine saying that, once he did this blockbuster film and he played a Muslim part in it, and then after that he only got offered Muslim parts.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to see him, but and then sometimes a person plays a police officer in a film, and then they keep getting cast as police officers, and somebody gets, cast as a gangster, and then they keep getting gangster roles. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a thing that happens with people, which is
Yeah.
most unfortunate.
Right, right. What have you done then, Dia, to just break out of that shackle then, if you look back to these 23 years here?
I have always believed in the pursuit of growth. I think it's so important for us. So, what happens when we're in a part of film is that the process is very insulating, right? You tend to kind of get cocooned and protected by various layers of, the story. So, and also because it's such an immersive experience, you tend to get disconnected from everything else around you and what's happening, the realities of the world that you live in.
Yes.
So my greatest effort and my most sincere effort in the last 2 decades has been to always stay in touch with reality, keep seeking real life experiences, keep growing as an individual, keep, acquiring more real time experience with real people, because I feel that a large part of what we represent in film is the sum total of what we're becoming as people. Our emotional, response, our physical response, our intuitive response to a part that we play comes from those experiences. And when we equip ourselves with a variety of real life experiences, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was watching a very interesting interview that Sharmila ji was giving recently for her film Gulmohar.
Right.
And she spoke about, and she's of course somebody who, did such a diverse
Array of
kind of
cinema.
cinema, and
Yeah.
yeah, area of cinema. And she is somebody I really look up to and respect. And she also speaks about how important it is to keep your humanity alive. And to be able to do that, you need to be an active citizen of the world. You need to be aware of what's happening in your country, what's happening in your world, what's happening with people.
Hmm.
And your exchange and interaction with real life has to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
regular.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't know if I would have been able to play some of the parts that I've played uh, in the last 5, 6 years if it hadn't been for many of the experiences that I've had on the ground with real people and with civil society.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, on all these years, I mean, listening to you is like, it's such an insightful observation about life, and about this wholesomeness of life. I wanted to know from you that while you have come to this place in life where you can talk about being at peace with where you are, but was there any time, any phase in life you feel like I might not belong to this place, like this is not where I want to be? like where you.
Oh, many times,
Yeah.
many times, especially when I was younger. See, because also the industry commodifies you, right? You're treated as a commodity. And when your idea of success or failure is hinged on the box office collection of your films, and some of your films don't do well,
Yeah.
it can really, act as a huge deterrent to your morale, to your self-esteem. I struggled a lot when my films didn't do well, and opportunities were drying up, and I was so young, and I would constantly be told, you've got so much promise, you have so much potential, you should be doing more. And but and all of that used to have an impact on me. But what I used to do is to kind of use that information to channelize myself and say, no, then next time an opportunity comes along, I want to meet it with more preparedness. So I'll spend more time in workshops, I'll learn more, I'll travel more, I'll do more work with, civil society organizations that really put me in touch with real people, put me in touch with real life problems, that help me interact and engage with the human story
Yes.
as much as possible. And that hopefully in turn will advance my growth as an artist and help me become more honest to the moment that I'm able to, portray on camera.
Yeah.
And it benefited me hugely. I mean, I still know that there are so many people who do say that, oh, underutilized artist, like there's so much more this person could do. And yeah, some days I feel it too, but it's okay, because I've done work at my pace. I have never, so when I got into my 30s and I set up my production company and I started working as a producer and creating content, I realized at that time that this is a job. This is not what defines me. This
Yeah.
is not, this is not my entire being. There is so
Yeah.
much more to who I am. And so long as I can, define my purpose and work towards that, nothing can unface me.
Yeah.
So I think it was somewhere along this time when I realized, oh, my purpose is deeper than just being an actor. It
Yeah.
is, my purpose is, yes, of course, it is about connecting with people and bringing joy and making a difference. But there are so many ways to do that, right?
Yeah.
And I shouldn't allow the rat race or the commodification of the industry or the constant, comparisons, or the leveling of the pressure that is leveled on an individual to be a certain way, to stop me from growing as a person. So
Yeah.
I feel like I finally am, in the last 10 years, in a place where I am content as an individual. I know what I'm about. If I get the opportunity to deliver to a part, I do it with sincerity. And I hope that, it will connect with people. And when it does, it translates into more opportunities. Sometimes it doesn't, so it doesn't happen, but it's all good. As long as I can keep doing what I love, I'm okay.